continuing story of Peyton Place. Starring Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, Ryan O'Neal as Rodney Harrington, Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson, Christopher Connolly as Norman Harrington, Patricia Morrow as Rita Harrington, James Douglas as Stephen Cord, Elizabeth Walker as Carolyn Russell, and also starring Barbara Rush as Marcia Russell.
For some time now, Stephen Cord has been disturbed by the scent of ruin and decay in the financial empire of his late grandfather, Martin Peyton. But the scent has been difficult to trace. Today, Stephen knows he's onto something specific, and he makes a hurried trip to Boston to invade the heart of the Peyton world. A conference room in the law offices of Wainwright and Kennerly.
Well, I lose my bet.
Oh?
I bet my son a lobster dinner that you would be here within 3 hours of your conversation with the bank.
Well, then you misjudged me. Again.
The new will doesn't mention you.
So the old man drew up a new will.
Yes?
May I see it?
No.
I'm entitled to know its provisions.
You're entitled to nothing.
Do we have to go to court?
You are entitled to nothing.
Then we go to court.
Suit yourself.
John, isn't this the time for cooperation?
No. The party of the first part.
Could we talk alone, please?
Certainly. Stephen, will you leave us?
Put it on the table, John, right now, in front of both of us.
Here it is. The old man propped himself up a few months ago and dictated this. It's a new will canceling out all others. A new will leaving everything to the Peyton Foundation.
Everything?
Everything?
This was signed and witnessed and sent on to the offices of the foundation. Mr. Peyton never even thought to send me a copy.
Or maybe he thought about it and decided he could do more harm this way.
Maybe. In any event, this looks perfectly sound and legal.
How could you do it? How could you talk your grandfather into writing a new will? How could you possibly do that?
Would you believe me if I told you I knew nothing about the new will? That I was just as surprised as you were?
No, I wouldn't believe you. Because you maneuvered it. May I see that, please?
No. I'd like to keep everything businesslike. There will be a time and a place for you to hear this, every word of it. And my only obligation to you is to tell you that you are no longer the principal beneficiary. Or, in fact, any kind of beneficiary. And I don't have to tell you that you are out, too.
I was never in.
Now, if you both will excuse me, I have work to do. I'm notifying the foundation that they have my full cooperation in turning over every asset of the Peyton estate.
Good old meticulous John Wainwright.
You are right. That's me. Meticulous and devoted and stupidly loyal. The virtues called vices. I loved your grandfather. I loved him like a brother, and I'm glad he did this. I'm glad he left his money where it will do some good, instead of leaving it out in full sight of all manner of pirates, male and female. Please.
Betty? Betty? I told you I had nothing to do with this.
My husband is in the hospital paralyzed. Now, after you left the house, we talked about you and the estate, and then suddenly he couldn't move.
Well, then what are you doing here?
You cheated us. You got to your grandfather and poisoned his mind against us.
Now, your husband's paralyzed. What are you doing
Well,
here?
I am going to fight you, Stephen. I'm going to fight you for Rod.
What are you doing here?
Nurse?
Sure, Dr. Oakley.
Get me back on my feet again.
Rod, listen, I'm going to level with you. I want you to level with me, okay?
All right.
Now, we've given you the works. The complete cervical spine series, the x-rays, everything. And we found no evidence of any physical damage whatsoever.
What are you trying to tell me, that I should still be able to walk?
Well, physically, it should be possible.
Mike, I'm right back where I started from. I can't move.
All right, then we're going to have to try and find out why. Try and find out exactly what happened to cause this kind of a reaction.
Nothing happened.
Do you know what a conversion reaction is?
A what?
It's a paralysis brought on by some severe emotional trauma.
I'm sorry, but you're over my head.
Betty tells me that Stephen came over to your house.
Yeah, he was there for a little while.
She said that he brought with him some disturbing news.
Oh, you know, Stephen, it was business, and he's always the bearer of bad tidings.
Rod, come on, be honest with me, will you? Did he say anything that caused this? Did he do anything that might upset you? Anything that might trigger a reaction like this?
You're way off.
Am I?
Yes, you are.
I wish I could be sure of that.
Well, you'll just have to take my word for it.
All right. Then we'll have to schedule an appointment with Dr. Wilkinson.
Who's that?
He's a psychiatrist.
I don't need a psychiatrist.
Rod, listen, any emotional trauma this severe that could have caused a reaction like this is going to need some kind of outside help.
It's my problem. I can handle it.
Alone?
Is Chuck Atwell outside?
Yeah, he's waiting out there.
May I see him, please?
All right. Just remember, Atwell can only handle therapy. And you're going to need more than a therapist. Rod? Dr. Rossi said you want to see me.
Yes, I do.
I'm sorry, champ. You weren't ready to go home yet. We were pushing.
You were right and I was wrong.
Yeah. I got scared the minute you were moved out of the hospital.
I told you it was a mistake.
And that first day at your house, I knew it wouldn't work. See, women like to have things their own way. They like to take control. They like to take over.
Let's leave my wife out of this.
Well, she was responsible. I mean, you did have some trouble with her, right?
I said, let's drop it.
All right. That's the way you want it. Well, here we are again. We're back where we started.
Yeah, that's the situation.
Okay, let's get started.
Hello.
Have a chair, Mr. Russell.
Oh, no, I don't want to interrupt.
Hey, that band is too much, isn't it?
Yes, they are.
Down, Mr. Russell. Millie and David just about to do their thing on the floor. I was going to go get some hot chocolate for us all. Care for some?
No, thank you, but may I pay for it?
No, thanks. Thanks anyway.
Do you do all that stuff? How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. And you?
Fine.
How's what's her name?
Carolyn, let's just...
Well, okay. She's fine. Carolyn, I've been thinking about what you said. The more I think about it, the more I like it.
Well, if you came all the way from Boston just to say that, I'm sorry. Because I told you then to forget it, and I meant it.
Did you mean it, too, when you came all the way to Boston to tell me you couldn't communicate with your mother? That you and she had nothing in common? That you wanted to stay with me for a while?
Daddy.
Well, I've given it some serious thought, and I've decided we should give it a try for a while.
It was just a whim. A lark. I've thought about it, too. And I don't think it will work.
I think it's worth a try.
No, I don't think so.
Especially now that your mother's decided to marry Dr. Rossi.
That sounds strange coming from you. She has a right to live her life, too.
I'm not attacking your mother, sweetheart.
I know. I know you're not. I'm sorry I said that.
You've got a life that you have to live, too, Carolyn. I mean, it would be fun for both of us if you moved in with me.
What's her name?
Helen.
Of Troy?
No. Chicago. Look, Carolyn, let's agree at least on a couple of things. Your mother and Dr. Rossi could probably use a little privacy after they get married. And their marriage comes at a time when you are having some difficulty with your mother, which is par for the course for girls your age. And you've already said you want to spend some time with me.
I've changed my mind, Daddy.
And look, pretty soon you'll be going off to college. And then I'll just be that old guy that you get to see every Christmas. Maybe. And send you checks and gets to spend a lot of money on your wedding. And don't get me wrong, it's not your fault we three aren't together. I don't want to penalize you because your mother and I are divorced. You're so different now. Suddenly, I just want to get to know you for a few months, that's all. Just a few months before you move out of my life completely and into a life of your own.
It wouldn't work. You don't understand me. What I need, what I want. I'm not trying to put you down. It's just the way it is. I just have no more room for you in my life.
You could try. We're supposed to be the conservative ones, the establishment, afraid to make a change. Well, I'm willing to try. You could try.
What about all those Helens of Chicago and Boston and...
We'd have our private lives. You'd have yours and I'd have mine. Please, Carolyn, let's give it a try.
Being young at heart is not enough. It doesn't mean anything.
Give us a chance.
We'd fail.
I can live with one more failure, but I'm not going to be flunked out before I've had a chance to take the test. What do I have to do to make you trust me again? Believe in me?
Nothing. Nothing.
Do I have to go out there and make a fool of myself to prove to you that I'm sincere?
I am not going to change my mind, Daddy.
I can't make it alone, Carolyn. I can't. There's nothing out there I want. No one. I never should have let your mother divorce me. I need to be with her. I need to be with you, both of you. I need to have my family back.
What are you saying? You just said that she was going to marry Dr. Rossi.
I know, but... Do you think she'd take me back? Do you think there's even the slightest chance? If I thought there was a chance... You could help me. She might tell you how she feels. She might admit how she feels to you. I hate to ask you. I hate to ask you to help me. It's just that I can't make it alone anymore.